If Drake would have remained the pop star like Lil Wayne wanted him to, we would never have this issue. Play your role, go be a pop star, go be MJ. He could have easily been on some Usher, The Weeknd timing where you could have been just adjacent to hip hop. He tried to insert himself like he's Jeff Bezos. He tried to Amazon and monopolize hip hop. And the only reason why he's being called a colonizer is because of his whiteness. So when you add his whiteness and monopolizing, you get a colonizer. Simple math, man.
Now, despite some of the biggest rappers in the entire industry coming back out recently with new music and moments that are trying to shift where the spotlight has been at in hip hop, this has not stopped Drake from continuing to stay active during this time where this summer has just become a public humiliation of him. But at this point, where Drake was once just throwing anything at the wall in terms of the antics he was pulling and the features he was releasing and hoping they would stick, now Drake has finally adopted an actual strategy at this point to try and save his image and brand following his beef with Kendrick Lamar, which is shockingly that now he is trying to save his reputation in a way that I don't think anybody would have expected, because Drake has quit rapping as a whole, and with his recent features, from his Camila Cabello collabs to his features on Gordo's new album, while it is no surprise that Drake has been making music that is right in line with the sound of his 7th studio album, Honestly Nevermind. Months ago, before this,
I think, honestly, Drake is still trying to search for his sound. I think that concept of you being a colonizer is starting to get to him, especially since he is kind of outcasted himself from the rest of the industry. Like the entire no friends in the industry thing, he's been affirming that his entire career. So now it's actually come to fruition. He reap what he sows. So at this point, like I keep saying, music is a reflection of your frequency. It's a reflection of your internal dialogue. So he's still on this personal, spiritual journey trying to figure out who he is. So I think this next album will be a true deciding factor, at least for me, to see if Drake is really conscious and aware and able to actually do some type of self-reflection and therapy. We got to see, man, because lately these last few tracks, I don't know if he had these in the stash already before the beef, and he's just trying to do something for the summer. But like I said, November's coming up, the fall time, the autumn. We got to see, man.
situation became as bad as it did. Drake was just teasing these collabs as the vibes he was going to be delivering for the summer following his lyrical duel with Kendrick Lamar. But recently, we have found out that these summer anthems were not just the type of music Drake was shifting to in an attempt to win people back after his feud with Kendrick with tracks that were made for this time of year. But we now know that this was phase 1 in a larger plan from Drake that is all going to include a departure from rapping. And now with something this serious and really pivotal to Drake's career and the entire music,
He should have been doing that. If Drake would have remained the pop star like Lil Wayne wanted him to, we would never have this issue. If he didn't try to fit in with everybody, you feel me, try to be a part of the basketball team, the wrestling team, you feel me, on some class president shit. Just chill out. Play your role. Go be a pop star. Go be MJ. He could have easily been on some Usher, The Weeknd timing where you could have been just adjacent to hip hop. He tried to insert himself like he's Jeff Bezos. He tried to Amazon and monopolize hip hop. You feel me? Even if you don't want to call him a colonizer, he still tried to monopolize hip hop. And the only reason why he's being called a colonizer is because of his whiteness. So when you add his whiteness and monopolizing, you get a colonizer. You get a colonizer. Simple math, man.
world. This is not a rumor that was reported by some major names in hip-hop media, or it wasn't said by some of the closest collaborators to Drake. But this was confirmed by Drake himself as this weekend in Toronto, at his OVO signee partynextdoor sold-out show. He came out as a surprise guest, and amongst many other things, he announced that he is going to be releasing a collab album with partynextdoor, which, considering that Drake is not like other rappers in the hip-hop world who love announcing albums that they never actually drop. As from collab albums like Her Loss with 21 Savage to even For All the Dogs, every time Drake has said that he has a project coming, it has been proven to actually release over the past few years.
And I ain't gonna lie to you. Hey, Drake, his collab albums, decent, you feel me? Like the 21, collab album, of course, What a Time to Be Alive. Drake been doing his thing. And like my issue has never been Drake and his music. Like I said, the initial Drake was fine if he would have stayed in his role, stayed his place. But he turned his back against his core audience. He turned his back against black people, more specifically black women, going against Rihanna, Meg Thee Stallion, Serena, all these people, yeah. And then you throw in Party Next Door. It's like, bro, you have no choice, low key, to be doing music with someone like Party Next Door. He's burned all his bridges, man. He burned all his boats. He has no choice but to go back. Man, I hope he actually has something that sounds amazing, because he really needs it, man.
But now, out of all of the albums Drake could have announced that were on his radar next, at this point in time, considering that he is going to be doing a collab LP with Party Next Door, this is showing us that right now at this point, where so much of the rap game has turned on Drake. And on top of that, already following a time where Drake has been shying away from actually rapping more than he has in years with all of the music he has released this summer. This album is really going to put into perspective that Drake has given up on rapping, and as Drake also only performed his catalog of R&B tracks as he came out at this Party Next Door concert for over an hour, without even doing one of his songs that leans into the hip-hop world just one bit. Beyond the sheer prospect of this record, all of the writing...
Starting today, anyone can monetize with ads. As part of the all-new Beehive ad network, thousands of newsletters...
All of the writing is already on the wall that Drake is putting down the pen and paper, or his ghostwriter's pen and paper, I don't know, but when we actually understand why Drake is doing this, things become a little more confusing, and the reason why this is because although Drake is ignoring rap for the time being, and he is now trying to not just avoid the space where so many people have turned against him, by releasing a collab album with Party Next Door, who is a signee on his OVO Sound label and is also from Canada. By collabing with this artist, he will be leaning more into his roots than he has in over a decade at this point, and now while Drake may not be rapping against his competition anymore, this decision from his perspective is a strategical move, as by working with an artist from his hometown who is one of the most influential tastemakers in terms of creating the entire music scene in Canada's signature sound and style, Drake will no longer be neglecting his own musical roots and jumping onto the scenes of others, which was of course one of the...
I just said that, didn't it? He's finally getting back to his roots, what he should have been doing. He should have never neglected his roots at all. And the thing about Drake, of course, he's still an industry darling. He still has the machine behind him. So, of course, he's going to hit those numbers. So, of course, Drake and the OVO stands, they'll go crazy over it, like academics. Of course, he's going to hit his marks. Like, hell, even with car accidents. We love seeing things that are overly stimulating. So that's just a part of human nature, psychology. So Drake is like a car accident. When he drops, we gotta listen. But with someone with Drake's mindset, a narcissist, any type of stimulation, any type of narcissistic supply is a good thing in his opinion. I just understand he's an only child. Lower middle class, white, black, Jewish, didn't really fit in. So this is his version of love. Dad neglected him, right? He talks about it all the time in his songs, how motherfuckers never loved us and all that type of shit. This is just a reflection of his reality, man. Hopefully somebody's talking to him, man. Hopefully he has people around him. I don't know, I'm lying. I don't think he does, man. I have no faith in that dude.
Biggest disses thrown out towards him throughout his entire beef with Kendrick Lamar, because Kendrick humiliated him for turning his back on artists like Party Next Door and the rest of the music scene from where he's from in favor of working with artists from other regions like Atlanta. And now in addition to this, at this point, with Drake not ignoring the entire music world and being a major pop culture figure, but just exclusively the hip-hop world, we can put together from this that he is trying to remain as a figurehead who is just as relevant as ever, because as we all know, Drake the brand is way too big to not release any sort of major body of work in any year at this point, as we have seen. But also, by doing this, aside from meeting his quota of saturating the musical market and leaning back into his roots before everything fully turns on him, I don't think Drake thought through that by turning his back on rap. While although Drake is trying to, what really seems like through his eyes, punish every one of his peers in hip hop for turning against him or even just letting this absolute musical mismatch go down in the first place. Because at this point, as Drake clearly can't win against Kendrick Lamar by actually using his lyrical skill, the only way he's going to be able to answer back to Kendrick or the entire rap world at large in a manner that everybody won't instantly laugh at, considering the quality of his last songs, is by existing outside of it and trying to spread his musical wings and influence wider than ever. And while from
He's right. He's absolutely right. Drake should have never went into rap. You should have never stepped in the cage. You feel me? He should have never stepped in the ring with a Kendrick Lamar. He shouldn't never even consider himself to be a rapper at that caliber when you know for a fact you're not going to be putting in the reps. For some reason, he just felt like he can just disrespect the crowd. It's almost like Jorgen Von Strangle, Fairly Odd Parents. It's the rules. Drake completely ignored the rules. Everyone has to follow spiritual law. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian, you're an atheist, you're Muslim, it doesn't matter. Drake clearly said, nah, I don't have to. Doesn't apply to me. I do what I want. Now the arrogance is caught up to him, man. It is what it is.
Perspective, this wouldn't be the worst idea. When you consider the stakes of this situation he is in, and the fact that Kendrick Lamar literally lined out his diss tracks to state that if Drake stops rapping and goes back to being the guy with the melodies and the guy who makes people dance, he will stop coming at him. When you consider this and see how Drake is literally making his opponent's lines come true, all these actions go from seeming kinda smart on Drake's end to just flat out pathetic, because by literally quitting rapping after all of this and showing out harder for these other styles of music, which were always subcultures you popped into but never actually cemented your creative footprint in, Drake has pretty much admitted defeat to the highest degree without even realizing it. Because by
Like, Drake is the epitome of jack of all trades, master of none. Like, it's almost like Jack in the Box. I wouldn't even say he's McDonald's, because at least McDonald's can specialize in the Big Mac. I don't feel like Drake has a batarang. Like, he doesn't have a weapon that he holds on to. His entire superpower is really just politics. Drake is a hip hop politician. He's not a musician, man. Muse. In order to have a muse, to be a muse, you gotta write, man. You have to be a creator. You have to be an artist. I can see if he just stood back.
proving his opponent's words true, and literally leaving the thing that he was challenged in after losing, Drake is showing that despite the ridiculous reports from people around him that he has been unfazed and happier than ever since this beef. We now definitively know that this has all been a public act that he has been trying to fool us with, just like this full switch up in sound, and by doing all of this and literally quitting rap, Drake has somehow dug an even deeper hole for himself. I mean, any real MC in the past who has lost a rap beef, no matter how bad the feud was or how embarrassing it was on their image, for them to come back and get any sort of respect, even the biggest losers knew that they had to keep on rapping and find a way to creatively move forward. And while Drake will never shift the public opinion on the idea that he lost miserably to Kendrick, the best course of action from here, and the only way he could actually go to try to shift this narrative, would not be to run away or tell your ghostwriters or whoever's writing these songs with you to drop their pens, but it would have been to keep on rapping and find a way to redefine and recontextualize your failure like Jay-Z did with his song after the Nas beef blew.
But y'all gotta understand at the same time, I was thinking that, but that just made me remember, it's like, bro, Drake is being accused of being a pedophile. He is on camera telling a 17-year-old girl that her breasts feel good against his chest, even after he knew she was 17. And this is no different than the Chris V situation with Kai. Chris knew the girl was 17. He continued. Dr. Disrespect knew the girl was 17. They continued. It's on camera, man. This reminds me of the Boondocks episode with R. Kelly. It's on camera. Drake fans are R. Kelly fans, and it's just a matter of time. He's going to expose himself some more. Like, this is a part of his internal dialogue. That's the reason why predators have to be put on that registry. He's going to expose himself. He's almost 40 years old. He's not going to get married to, like, he's not getting married, bro. He probably not going to have another kid. He's going to end up on some Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire timing. Just constantly dating a bunch of 20-year-olds. And he's just going to keep exposing himself, man. He's going to get 50, 60, 70, get older, more lonely. It's going to be nasty. He going to end up with some Ivanka Trump type shawty. You feel me? It's going to be nasty, man.
Too, which, while this self-titled song from his 2002 studio album did not change the fact that he lost, as the track was amazing, it made people realize that even a loss in rap beef is not going to demolish everything Jay-Z ever did. And even for Drake, he could make this same thing true for himself, but with this sore loser mentality and now this public spiral and meltdown, which has literally led him to deciding that he should just quit making rap music. This is only going to make the hip-hop world remember him in an even more pathetic light, and at the end of the day, as the reason why Drake even engaged with Kendrick Lamar in the first place was because he wanted to take the biggest thing Kendrick has had over him, which is, of course, the undeniable respect and love he has from his peers and the culture. Now looking at the outcome of this beef and the fact that Drake is going to be putting the mic down, he is now only going to be remembered in an even worse light for doing this, which at the end of the day, makes Kendrick's victory all the more powerful. So with all this,
it's almost like Mr. Beast. Like, he just uploaded a video, like, survive 100 days in a bunker. And it started getting a bunch of dislikes. Even started deleting comments in the comment section. And like, bro, you can't create your content out of this, man. You can't create your way out of this, man. Like, they really think, no, we'll just ignore it the same way they ignore things. It's like, bro, we see you, peekaboo. Especially when it's that obvious.
let me know. What do you think of Drake quitting rap, and how do you think this is damaging?
Hey, man. Shout out to Fantastic Hip Hop for another dope-ass video. Make sure y'all go check the link in the description. See you on the next one, man.